I just got a good morning, everybody. I just got a text from Andre. He and his wife, they're making the move in a couple of weeks.
Oh,
They have to go to
I did not know that.
they have to go to they have to live in Ukraine for the next few years.
Oh.
All right. Good morning, everyone. This is Sean Brown, and this is Urban Disruptors Weekly Wrap Up. I'm about to get started. We have a slightly different format today, as you can see from where I'm sitting. Please share this with your friends and family. Let them know that one of the greatest interviews of all time is about to occur right here at WCMD Studios. We are here live. Today, my guest is ELton Custis, school board member, former. I don't know if you're a former anything because you still do stuff. He'll tell you more about himself, but a friend for a long time. But we're going to talk about the legacy of Barack Obama and the nature of politics in general. So share this. Let other people know that we're here. I'm going to share it too. I'm going to move my seat back in a second. But thank you so much for joining. I'm not going to do the typical news wrap up today, but there will be a special episode on Wednesday where I go over both the news and the election results from the 2020 election. Just to give you a preview, about 10% of people voted for Trump in Camden, and then around 17,000 people voted for Joe Biden. So we're going to dig into those numbers and see what's going on. I'm going to introduce you in a second, but let me make sure I share this. So again, good morning to everybody. Thank you for for tuning in today. This is going to be I think a great conversation about all sorts of stuff that's going on. ELton, one of the reasons I asked you to do this is because I know how popular you are. So hope that all your friends share this as well.
Also using my popularity?
Yes. That's the way it works.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure. I thought it was like a real mutual friendship.
No, it is, but it's also business.
The truth always come out in light.
That's right. All right. ELton, how you doing today, by the way?
Pretty good. I'm not tired today.
You're not tired today?
Nope.
Okay, good.
Not at all.
All right. So I'm just going to share this real quick, guys, and we're going to get into these hard-hitting questions. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you are healthy. Hope that you're happy. Hope that you're eating a good diet and drinking plenty of water, keeping your social distance, wearing your masks indoors. ELton, for a long time, has been a big believer in not wearing masks. Not in that he doesn't wear a mask, but he don't got to be fake for nobody out here. He don't got to be fake for nobody. He don't got to wear no mask, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, but I do wear it. Listen, I was looking for it just now. I took it off when I came in.
All right. Here we go with this. All right, we got the sharing. Good morning to some of our friends that are watching right now.
Yes, good morning.
Hello to you.
And thank
Take
you
notes.
for joining.
Yes. Okay. I am almost ready. Okay, here we go. So first, how's your family? How are your friends doing in this pandemic?
Everyone's doing well. Mr. Brown, thank you for asking. I have not gotten many calls to say people are sick, like an immediate family.
Okay.
And friends, but I do know a couple of people from my large network, family and friends are not doing so well. So keep them all in prayer and lift it up. And just make sure that we are washing our hands and keeping our safe distance and wearing their masks, like the actual mask, guys, over your face, like your nose and your mouth.
So, ELton, I met you in 2009. We had a mutual friend, Roger, and he told me that one of his friends was running for mayor and needed some help in the campaign. He thought because I worked on elections before that I could maybe be helpful. I met you. I met you, I think, in Parkside. And when I met you, I liked you and I was impressed by you. But I was more impressed by how deep, young, educated, funny your whole team was. Everybody that was in that room, like Sheena, Ranika, Katina, all these names,
all these people.
Yeah. And then obviously over the years we realized that we know a lot of the same people. Where you're, I think, 3 months older than me in age.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the round.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell the world now. I mean,
It's on Facebook.
I'm like 22.
Okay. All right. Well, so with that said, you, me, and several of our friends, including Keisha, Marcel, Bruno, and Paul, may he rest in power, went to the White House.
Yes.
And while President Obama was president, and I wanted to, his book came out earlier this week. As you can see, it's pretty big. And there's a point that he makes in here. I'm not going to actually quote him, but there's a point that he makes in here. And I wanted to start the conversation off about this before we get into more local things. Saying that he was often not, and I saw somebody said this on Facebook this week, but he's often criticized for two things: one, not getting enough done, especially for Black people, and two, being too middle of the road, too introspective, too nuanced in the way that he spoke on politics in general. I know I have received that type of criticism myself in some ways. I don't think that you have. I think you're as outspoken as I am. I think that you are, if there's a scale, you're a couple of notches ahead of me in terms of outspokenness. But with that said, what are your reflections on Barack Obama's legacy, and what do you think of the criticism that he received for what he did not do or what he did not say?
Most certainly, I believe his legacy is going to live on forever. It is very powerful what he done. When it comes to the criticism and the lack of the work that many, will say, African Americans say that he did not do, sometimes you have to be conservative, especially in that. I think in his seat, there's just a lot of hot water. So if he weighed in on one side other than the other, I mean, he still would have gotten the same kind of criticism and backlash. I think most certainly he played it safe. I mean, too safe for me, because I am one that speaks out about any and everything. But I think that he did it so that we can still have other people vie for that seat later on. Because if he was too pro-Black, I don't think that we would even see Kamala Harris where she's at today. So sometimes you have to weigh on the side of I guess, equalness, if I may say, just so we can have another fighting chance for someone else as we build our legacy.
And so I encourage everybody to read this. He tells a whole bunch of stories.
I just purchased it, but for $44, he could have gave a butt like this.
I know. It's. I got it. I'm in the line at I'm in Atlanta. Like I should have done this on like Kindle or something. But at least look. At least it has pictures. At least it has pictures. The only reason I'm not going to talk about, I wanted to talk about this more, but the only reason I'm not is because I think what's going on in our community right now, the issues are heavy, and you are, as many people know. Let me give some background. Many years ago, this city of Camden had what was known as a takeover when Jim McGreevey was governor. Mm-hmm. And in that, in the legislation, instead of the Camden community electing all 9 members of the school board, that law said that the community would elect 3, the governor would appoint 3, and the mayor would appoint 3. That legislation, when John Corzine was in his last days in office, right before Dana Red became mayor, like a month before Dana Red became mayor in January 2010, the governor updated that law and said that Camden is a type 1 district, and therefore the mayor would appoint all 9 members for 5 years. Mm-hmm. That 5 years came and gone, and this mayor did not trigger what was supposed to happen, which was to allow the voters to decide whether we wanted to elect our school board members or appoint have the mayor appoint our school board members. I started a petition drive, working with a lot of other people. Mm-hmm. I started a petition drive. It was not successful. We did not get enough signatures signed. Keith Benson and I at that time had an argument over strategy. He was right, I was wrong, because the better way to get an elected school board was to sue the school district in the city, which was done. Mm-hmm. I was in that case. I was there in the courtroom that day. The judge said that if you're an advisory board member, it's a lower position than being a dog catcher. And I remember this stark, rude, insulting thing that he said, and his ruling was terrible. The district was represented by Bill Tambusi, who's one of George Norcross's closest friends and his lawyer. But the CEA and a few other people appealed the case to the New Jersey State Appellate Court and won. And then yada, 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 and went to the voters. Now we have an elected school board. You are one of the first 3 elected. I know this is a long explanation, but you're one of the first 3, but you're the only person. I don't know what Faison would be considered to be out the party or in the party, because she wasn't endorsed by the party when she ran, but you're the first person in 2001, but not in 2005, because in 2005 they endorsed Nilsa, who ran against Faison. So I would say Faison winning in 2005 was the last time a non-endorsed person won, and then fast forward to you in 2019. So you are the only person out of 6 people who ran, or 7, I guess 8 people who ran against the party for school board. You're the only person, with you ran twice. So you're the only. Can you close that, please? You're the only person that won. When I went throughout the Camden community, I said, "Who you vote?" Last year, I said, "Who you voting for?" They're all like, "Well, I'm gonna vote for Naima, ELton." I'm not sure who my 3rd person is. I heard this all the time. I say all this to say, when you look at how the election went last year, you look at how elections went this year. We look at what's going on in public education. Very long intro to a very short question, but what are your thoughts?
Mr. Brown, first of all, it's an honor to have the community elect me to be one of their school board members. So I thank you. Most certainly, community. Let's keep fighting. Let's keep working. What was the question again? Because you did a long intro. What are my thoughts on?
Yeah, what are your? Because I want you to keep you in a space where you're comfortable. So in terms of running in the election, comparing it to how it went this year, running against the party, what are your thoughts on this?
So goodness. First of all, I don't think I really even wanted to run when the community came to me. It was the community that got me out to run again, because I was like, look, listen, I like working from the back, getting people in places, getting people doing things, and things of that nature. And things of that nature. So, when the community asked, I was really hesitant, but I made it happen. Running against this, what you want to call it, this party, is most certainly not an easy feat at all. It comes with a lot of challenges. I mean, you want to be respectful, but you always want to get your point across too. So I think my campaign, most certainly, just for keeping me positive. The 2 young ladies that ran the campaign were very sharp, Brie and Sade. They made sure that everything was in just taken care of. All we had to do was walk in, sit down, have the interview, make sure that it was polished, things of that nature. They did a really good job with us last year, and I'm always thankful and embedded into those 2 young ladies. So I think last year's election just ran really smoothly for the 3 candidates that they were working with. This year, I mean, I didn't have that much in and outs with the campaign. I just showed up a couple of times, to help who the NJEA and CA were endorsing, and CWA. So I helped a little bit. But what I think I noticed the most was that I did not see that campaign manager's presence a lot. And so, I mean, saying that in a short change is your campaign manager is usually the first person at anything for you. They set the monotone of everything. Who you talk to, who you meet with, where you go, where the money's coming from. So I didn't see that, probably because I didn't have hands-on with this one, but I did not see that campaign manager in the trenches like I see mine. If I could not make it somewhere, they were out knocking on doors, they were speaking to people for us, because we couldn't make it until we showed up. So, I don't know if that happened this year. I do know that we need more presence when you're running against the party. If you're going to be an independent candidate running against a party, you have to be out there. I mean, more than anybody else, because our money is low. Our volunteers are short. We don't have the same manpower at this current time, because we're working on it. Believe that at this current time to do the things that they do, so they can relax on a lot of things. Wait until the mailers go out so people can get their mail in oh my God, look who's running, this came in the mail. We don't have that option. I mean, we really have to be out there do the grass work. We have to be knocking, we have to be speaking, we have to be showing up. We have to do a tireless thing. I mean, I was tired. I think I changed shoes throughout the campaign when I ran like 3 times.
These shoes were made for walking.
Oh yeah.
And that's just what they do.
I think I did more of that than
one of these
walking
days,
that I
these
do now.
shoes are gonna walk all over you. Nah, I say
Only Mr. Brown. But yeah, so I think that's the total difference that I have seen. Between both campaigns that we ran last year.
Now, I don't know. I forget what the election was in 2019. I think maybe November 4th. But the very next day, and for 6 weeks, I was without talking to you about it, I was your PR rep, because people that were within the party were like, well, Sean, I understand you're friends with ELton, and they basically want to know if you're a reasonable person. Are you crazy and wild, or are you reasonable? They weren't sure. And what I told everybody is, ELton is going to be an advocate for the district schools, absolutely, but ELton is also an intelligent and reasonable person that knows all sorts of people. One of the things your campaign did well in 2019 was not, you identified issues with Renaissance and charter schools, but you did so without demeaning them and insulting the parents or the students that go to those schools. And I think that was a smart election strategy, but more important, I think it's also a smart education strategy, because now that you're in the district, you see that as hard as Katrina and her team are working, the challenges that they have are huge. I don't want to say insurmountable, but they are certainly big challenges that go there. So with that said, I think I've missed one school board meeting since you've been on the board. But overall, in the last 6 years, I've probably missed 4 meetings, so I'm pretty up to date with what's going on. You, Falio, who won in 2019, Nye, who won in 2019, and Namdi, who's appointed. I feel like, tell me if I'm wrong, that you guys have, you are the 4 youngest members, but you also have, well, Clayton will be coming on, so he's going to beat that. But for now,
I'm still 22.
Yeah. You guys work together.
Yes.
You get things done. It's not like you're in one political party, they're in another political party, you're clashing and have like debates.
Correct.
You work as a team of people.
Yes. Almost like a collab as a unit. So we don't always agree on everything. I know when I first walked in, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm the only one. This is going to be hard. I can't stand these people. Like, I had already had this in my head, but I knew I had to work on getting things done. And I believe they thought the same thing at that moment. Like, oh my goodness, he's going to come in here confrontational. We're not going to get anything done. He's going to stand down. We're going to have the community fighting us every which way. So, I'm glad that did not happen. So people ask me all the time, how do you work with these people? Like, how do you get it done? And I tell them, first of all, you just be yourself. Right. And I think once you're yourself and people know that you're in it for the right reasons, and I'm just not in it. Look, listen, there's no pay coming from this at all. I'm here because, I love my community first and foremost. And the children have always been, the youth have always been, my number one pride in this community. I have not one, but I most certainly have hundreds that I take care of, they call. So, just working together as a unit, we're able to get a lot of things done. Like I said, we don't always agree on everything, but we come to a median, and then we're able to push that agenda forward. So it's not like, oh no, you want to have one over on me. No, we don't. We don't work that way. It's like, all right, look, listen, we're working on whatever you want to work on this time, and then a couple of weeks for the next meeting we'll work on this one. So it's really good. And I see the progress that it has had. Even getting it back down to Katrina and the administration. They really take a lot of things that we say, as face value and try to push it along the way.
And I just want to be very clear that ELton Custis is talking on behalf of himself and not as a representative of the board. He's an elected board member with First Amendment rights, and he is free to speak on whatever he wants, but he's not speaking on behalf of the board. That's Minister Wasim's job.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna move on.
Thank you for the plug.
Yeah.
They would have been calling.
Okay, so you answered that question too. Okay, so I interviewed Joey Deal. Joey Deal is he's a young man that runs hustle by nature, a fashion line out of Camden. He went to school here when this building was Meadows High School. And in an interview I did with him a few weeks ago, this is 2 weeks before the election, I asked him if anybody reached out to him on the election. He said no. Joey hosts Hustle and Social. So he only, not only does he run his own business, but he's also connected to many other, if not most of the young entrepreneurs in this community. He's a decent young man. He's not slinging a gun. He's not selling dope. He's not, he's the exact type of person that we should be propping up. I asked him what he thinks about the amount of people that are young people that are entering into be like the third generation of drug dealers, gangbangers in our city. And he said that we don't have enough male mentors. We don't have enough positive examples in our community. You know, you're educated with your master's degree. I'm educated with my master's degree. Not that that means necessarily anything, but we are hyper educated people. Let me ask you a few questions on this. So one is, why you live down the street from here on Kane Avenue? Why do you still live in Camden? Why didn't you move to the suburbs yet?
My heart is here in Camden. There's no other place I want to be other than Camden. Do sometimes I get tired of people knocking on the door asking me to get things done when I'm trying to rest? Yeah, I think we all deserve a little bit of downtime, but it has not taken away.
Well, when I knocked your door, though, I was just I just needed to wipe the stuff off your car.
You shouldn't have rode on my car, sir. That's probably the number one reason I should be leaving. People vandalizing my property. No, but all jokes aside, I really love what I do here. I love my community. I love bigging it up. There's not a place I don't go and they don't know that I'm from Camden. And once they know I'm from Camden, it's like, oh my God, it's almost like they're having a heart attack. I'm grabbing their heart, their chest rather, to say, you can't be. And I'm like, no, I am. It just shines. I mean, I make Camden shine. Camden shines within me. So I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. So I'm here to work.
How many of your friends that you went to high school with from Camden that are educated, making good money, how many of them do you think still live in Camden?
Not many of them. Not many. I think, look, listen, my close friends, I can count on my hand. It's only 3 of us that's still here. You know, and we're all still working. They all still work with me. Thank you so much, guys, for staying here. Even the ones that moved outside of the city. So I can't say that the only ones that still working with me to get things done are here. But it is imperative that we stay here. We, you know, we build here because if not, someone else will build for us here. And that's what we don't want. I've been here for 38 years. I continue to be here for the next 38 plus. And I just want to see it grow with Black and brown people, grow with, you know, culture and just rich in spirit here. Camden has this wonderful spirit that it outshines anywhere. I mean, you tell somebody from Camden, like, oh my God, you survived it? I mean, how did you do it? I'm like, it's easy. I mean, you know, you do the same thing you do in your suburbs. You live. And that's what I do. We live and we get stronger and we get better. That's it.
They say like, oh, you live in a dangerous city. I say, I am the danger.
Yeah, I fear none. So I guess we're right
about it. That's a Breaking Bad reference. All right, I'm gonna stick on this point. So I put up on Facebook probably a few months ago. How many of you have done your census? And you know, I'm friends with a lot of people, obviously in the Camden community. And I want to say 90% of the people that replied that they did the census were women. I look at school board meetings and I see what parents are participating. Again, 90% are women. I look at issue after issue. I see is women that are stepping up. It's women that are doing this. It's women that are doing that. We're obviously 2 men. What's up with the men in our city where we're not stepping up enough? We're not contributing as much as we otherwise could. You have a theory on this?
I really do not have a theory on it, but I most certainly look, listen, it's many a time that the men come together and try to collab and get things done. I think the male ego is something that really just keeps bumping.
All right, we saw this in the room. We saw this in the room over here, right?
Keep bumping up against something. Sometimes you have an expert at something. I mean, all of us come to the room with our own expertise.
Right.
So when we come, sometimes we don't know how to just like relax it, let the guard down, and learn something new. It's like, no, mine's work, So listen to what I have to say. So we bump heads a lot of times, and then we walk out of the room not completing the mission and which brought us to the room.
Right.
So I think that's a big problem on why you see the women leading. Women get into a room, they have a situation, a problem, they come with solutions, they walk out. If they all do not agree, they at least have 90% of the people agreeing. So it brings the other 10, like, look, listen, if they doing it, I must go ahead and do it as well, so we can look like we are a cohesive unit. There's so many women groups right now in Kansas City that are progressive and moving forward. You see them doing bridge walks. You see them having community events, cleaning up. I mean, I don't see that in the masses of men here. We get the same, probably 15 that we have all the time.
Right.
And we just don't build off each other like we ought to.
And let's be honest, it is the same 15, and about a third of them don't have many skills.
Correct.
And what I've learned in the past, what I've learned recently by studying how the Nation of Islam works, is that you have people who should be the house people, administrative people, spokespeople, people dealing with media, raising money, and field people.
Correct.
And the field people are the soldiers that are out doing what needs to be done. We got a whole bunch of people that think they should be in the house when there's nothing wrong. Not only is there nothing wrong with being in the field, but we're talking about election strategy earlier. We need great people in the field.
Absolutely.
But if you don't, if what I notice in some of these groups is that I know, even for me, I'm educated. But I don't come to the room with enough skills, with enough knowledge on everything that needs to be done. So either we need to find people who are experts and really good at it, or we need to learn it ourselves.
Correct.
And the ego prevents certain people from realizing that I don't know this, so I'm going to get somebody that does know it, or I got to read a book, I got to watch a video. Because some of these people walk into a room with their chest poked out because their goal is to prove to everybody, oh, I've already been doing this, I can already do this. Like, and it's like, really? Have you seen Camden?
Yeah.
Have you? Matter of fact,
so if you've been doing it,
not Camden. What's going on in your own house? Absolutely. Because if your own house isn't together, I'm real interested in what you're going to do for this entire community.
Absolutely.
And these are tough conversations to have.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, many of us don't want to have these conversations because you don't want anybody to know what you're doing in your backyard. So that's why we don't move forward.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't mind people know what are you doing in your backyard. I don't mind people knowing that.
Look, listen, right now I'm trying to get the grass cut. So
all right. I want to stick on this point because I think this is critical to the success of this community. So, the ego, right? So the ego gets in the way. I said this on the show before. You probably heard me say this. One of the things in our relationship is, for years, if I saw you say something on Facebook that I didn't like, I thought maybe the point wasn't as clear as it could be. We've had arguments.
Absolutely.
And we've had arguments over these things.
I'm not taking it down. I don't care.
And there are times, I remember, I mean, this is years ago in 2012, well, I guess early 2013, but whatever. You and Kenise had to sit down with me over something, and something I did when I was on the school board, and we had an agreement that I won't do anything big politically without talking to my friends about it, so that you guys can talk me out of it, encourage me, be able to explain to other people who may not want to talk to me. And we still have that pact, and we still have that pact today. Let's see the facts. We build here. Yes. Speak your truths. Thank you. We are. Thank you to everybody that is watching. If you are just tuning in, I'm Sean Brown, the Urban Disruptor, and this is Urban Disruptor's weekly wrap up. Today, my guest is an old friend, and by old friend, I mean he's 3 months older than me. Is an old friend, ELton Custis. ELton is on the school board. He's also a drug addiction and mental health specialist. He is super active in this community, and he's elected to office. So today we're talking about politics, the legacy of the 44th president, Barack Obama, and let's get into it with a few more things.
My fingertips are a little cold. I didn't turn the heat on for me today.
No,
okay.
I'm saving electricity.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, so speaking of men, 10% of people, around 10% of people in Camden voted for Donald Trump. And when I look at the numbers, it's actually pretty spread out in all 4 wards. And again, I'll do a whole analysis of this later in the week. I'm assuming that you voted for President Biden or President-elect Biden.
Yes, that's
okay.
what I assume. No,
Why do you think Trump got 10% of the support? What is it that you think about the voters?
You know, the thing I heard the most throughout this whole thing is the lesser of the two evils. I don't want to vote for Biden because he did this, this, and this, and this, and I don't want to vote for Trump because he is this. So when you have this this president that's in office right now, that is who he is, and we see him at face value. I mean, we see it every day, every time he speaks, every time he tweets. We see who he is inside and out. I wouldn't know. I don't know who in the right mind would ever just push the button for him, unless you are just that angry with the Democratic Party. Believe me, this Democratic Party has done some things that I am not happy about. But when the overall, I guess, aspect, and when you look at it, it's like they have done more in the urban community. So I don't know why anybody would have voted those 10%, or that, whatever. So the number should have never been 10% here, because I have not seen the Republicans even contribute a little to our success in this community.
So when Barack Obama signed a stimulus package in the beginning of his presidency, it was a payroll tax deduction.
Correct.
So we all went from, I think, don't quote me on these numbers, but it might have went from 7.5% to 5% for a certain period of time. So what you would see, you had a slight increase in your check week to week because of that payroll tax deduction. When the stimulus package that Donald Trump supported, most people got a check. Now in the calendar year, for most people, that payroll deduction could actually be more than what the amount of that check was. It might have been less, but it could have been more. In the long run, it was certainly more. But because people got a check, and Donald Trump, I don't think most people got a paper check, but I guess if you did, you saw Donald Trump actually had his signature on it. If you remember that the IRS was delayed in sending the checks out because he wanted to have his signature printed on the check. There are people that give Donald Trump credit when they should really give that credit to House of Representatives, because it was through Nancy Pelosi's leadership that stimulus package was passed. Nothing that deals with money with the federal government can happen without the House of Representatives, half of Congress, passing it first. This is the way it is in the United States, set up in our Constitution. So Trump did a great job of taking credit for things that, if anything, was teamwork and not something that was just on him. Effort. And he also did, and I think a lot of politicians do this, where he pardoned a few people. He had some Black people in the White House. He authorized more money for HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. And people see that like, oh, look at all the stuff that Donald Trump's doing for Black folk. Barack Obama didn't do any of this stuff for Black folk. What Barack Obama did do, though, was he made sure that millions more people got health care, which includes Black people. And there's a list of things. I think that I noticed that when you look at where people get their information from, a lot of it is on social media. Correct. And the Shade Room, the Breakfast Club.
Absolutely. Do I look at those social media forums? Most certainly. But I always do my research before I go ahead and try to, oust or give information to a community. Because everyone reads ELton Custis, Black or Moore's page. I don't care who you are. You may not respond, but you are watching. Close friends keep that in my head. So even sometimes when I have a rant, they're like, "Oh, you don't know who's watching. Want to take that down." Like Sean said, the checks and balances. But I try to make sure that everything that I put up is almost factual, because and informational wise, so people can get the help that they need, or the resources that's needed. So I try not to put up fluff at all, because that's just making a world of mess. And I already live in a community that is full of a world of mess. So I'm trying to minimize the efforts as much as I can, with just helping people. So I try to make sure everything that I put up is close to 98% factual, so people can get whatever they need.
I just want to go to the comments on
Absolutely.
Here. So we have Aaron Johnson said we build here. Absolutely. Jennifer Weed said good morning, y'all. Hey Jen. It's been a while.
Long time.
Pam Grayson, Baltimore, is giving a shout out to both you and Bree and Hava. Let me before I get to the Pastor Khan, I'm gonna get to your question in a second, but before I get to that, let me just say something about Ms. Pam and you for a second. First, let me say most importantly that I really think Ms. Pam's cheating on me with you, which I really don't appreciate. Ms. Pam and I are gonna have a talk about this later.
You gotta get up at 5:30 in the morning.
5:30 in the morning,
That's
yeah.
right.
Well, but you walked the bridge,
Yes.
and I was thinking about this. You know, you guys walking the bridge is really a metaphor in that you are literally walking across the Ben Franklin Bridge and back early in the morning. But as you cross a bridge, that's really what you, Ms. Pam, I try to do. I think the reasonable people in politics, whether they're within the party or in more so in opposition, are people who realize that we got to really be bridge builders and not bridge destroyers. Yeah. And I've burned a few bridges over the years, and I've learned the hard way that once you burn a bridge, it's really hard to rebuild it because steel is expensive. That's right. And you need equipment to do it. And so anyway, so how do you get motivated to walk the bridge every day? What's that experience like? What do you see? What happens?
So I'm thankful for Miss Pam's friendship, most certainly. I did really not know Miss Pam until one day she reached out like, "Can I join you on the bridge?" And I'm like, "Oh, this lady I see around here doing all this work wants to walk with me." So I was really like elated. I was really happy and just like overjoyed. I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, come on out." You know. So from there we just bridged a really good bond. We talk about a lot of things when we're up there. When I take the time to slow down some, I'm sorry, Miss Pam, I'm gonna slow down a little bit so we can talk a little more. But once I do slow down, we have a very interesting conversation. But our motivation is really each other, pushing each other to get up. I know some days I'm still laying in that bed and Miss Pam a text like, "I'm on my way," or "We're about to start." And I'm like, "All right, I'll meet you there. So you can start and I'm coming." But it's the constant reminder that, you know, you have accountability partners. Somebody that is counting on you to show up like you're counting on them to show up. Right. So when you meet that, you can't let that person down. Look, some days I don't want to get up. Just the other day, Miss Pam foot went out on the bridge. I mean, you know, I stayed and I encouraged and I was waiting. I was about to get back up on that bridge to go find her because I knew at 7:08 she comes down that bridge and I get a text like, "I'm done." But when I didn't get that, it got me a little worried. So I was on my way up and I saw this red shirt come down. So I knew that she was on her way down. And then she explained to me that, you know, her foot. But it's about the encouragement and just the constant motivation. Right. So a lot of people show up to walk with me. Miss Pam is not the only one. Sheree. Sheree. Who else? Oh goodness, the list go on. Right now,
Is Brian Gregg? Is he still walk?
Yeah, every now and then. But people come up all the time. But Miss Pam and I have been the most consistent. So yeah, most certainly that's the bridge crew.
I'll make it one day.
Yeah, we'd like to see you. Not to get Miss Pam back, but you can come and walk with us though.
Okay. I feel like I need to like do some mini walks first, make sure I keep up and don't pass out. I don't want to.
Usually when first time walkers come up, we take our time.
All right, thank you. All right, you'll be gentle. Sidebar. This is from Aaron Johnson. Sidebar. Can ELton give his thoughts about drug addiction in Camden City, and how do we make incremental progress as a city? Aaron Johnson, as usual, that is a fantastic question. Shout out to Aaron, who is now in the CCMUA. She's also with child, as they say. Yes, we love you, Aaron. Drug addiction. I love this question because it's such a huge issue.
It is. And can you just read the question one more time so I can make sure that
Sure. How do we make incremental progress with drug addiction? Actually, no, I'm sorry. These are two separate questions. So okay. Give your thoughts on drug. All right, let's do that one first. Give your thoughts on drug addiction in Camden.
Drug addiction.
Let's start off. What are you addicted to?
What am I addicted to? To this phone.
Oh, okay.
But drug addiction in Camden is a real big issue.
Here, let me see your phone real quick.
Here in the city of Camden. No, you don't need to see my phone, sir. Unless you go pay this bill, because that's the only way people see my phone.
Nah.
Stay focused, man. So it's a really big issue here in the city of Camden. And I think that we most certainly need more drug addiction programs in the city. The funding for the state has been cut drastically. We used to have a detox center in Jefferson Hospital, in Old Kennedy. That was cut. So now you have like dual diagnostics happening up on a unit. So you have your mental health problems with your drug addiction problems. And sometimes they clash. I mean, most of the time they bridge together because a lot of stuff stems from another. But sometimes you just need that detox. Sometimes people are only here to get clean and get back out on the street. So now you have to pair them with a diagnosis to keep them in the hospital. So that's unfair. Most of the times, all the time, you ask me, because all they have is a drug addiction problem. So now you're adding on other stuff just so they can get in bed in the hospital so you can try to help them. So that's almost crippling. So, that's a downfall. But I think that here we need to, in the city of Camden, let's have more drug programs, most certainly. I think, what's that? Methadone clinic down on, what's that?
6th and Atlantic.
6th and Atlantic is necessary. Most certainly it is necessary. I have worked in methadone for many years, and I see it working if the person works the program itself. And I also have seen it being abused because people know how to work the program and say it's not working, I need a higher dose. But if you are there as the counselor and you're doing your job, you can see the benefits and you can start seeing how it's working. Someone making it to work on time, someone taking care of their children now, someone doing the things, making all their meetings, coming to talk to you about the problems and the stressors that they're having. So most certainly it's not a crutch unless you make it the crutch in your life. Methadone is most certainly something that is sustainable. It can help you get your life back on track, but you have to know when to cut it off. You have to make that plan to say, I'm not going to be a lifer and start, moving forward.
Oh, if I suspect a family member, a friend is smoking wet or crack, maybe abusing opioid pills like perks, what do I do?
Get that call all the time, Mr. Brown. So the one thing that I do, that I try to do all the time, is have a conversation with the person, see what's making them go into this frenzy.
You like smoking crack, don't you? Like that?
You want to have an informed conversation.
Oh, okay.
Sean, because people will open up about their problems as long as you're genuine about your question asking.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just like to be in that business so you can go run, tell that and stuff like that, they're not going to let you know. But once you are genuine and you open up to them, they'll open up to you, and then you're able to assist them in the help that they need, like trying to find programs for them to get in. So that that's here in the city of Camden, there is a wealth of programs. And I should have came if I knew these was going to be the questions, so I apologize, Aaron. With all of
we can put it in the comments. I can share it.
Yes, I will do. Like I said, people want help, especially if they're out here. They just don't know who to ask the help from or who's going to lead them in the right direction.
Let's see if we can get some resources and list them out. Let me get to Aaron's other question.
Yes.
How do we make incremental progress as a city?
Oof.
I'm an urban disruptor, Aaron. I don't want to make incremental progress. I want to knock. Okay, Falio told me not to curse on the show, so I'm not going to curse Falio.
That's right, because I know he's watching, and if not, he will be watching.
Right. Anyway, I'm here. I'm like being a bad host. Go ahead, answer how you want.
No, but it's so hard for me not to cuss because my last name is Custis, so I do a lot of that. So I'm learning by working with so many people who do not cuss to, choose my words wisely. But incremental progress comes from, I believe, the residents. We have to fight more. We have to dig deeper. We have to do the unthinkable here in the city of Camden.
We have to fight more?
Yes. Like I'm talking about no, not at the park and not out here when you cut this camera off. You keep interrupting me. But no, we have to most certainly dig deeper as a community. There's a lot of chatter. What does
not be the change, not the chatter.
Be the change and not the chatter. And that's the most informed thing. So thank you, Nye, for that. Because most certainly we do a lot of talking here in this community. Oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and hit nobody. But there's never enough action to these words that we are talking about. Like I said, you get the same 16 people. This phone rings so much asking me, can you do? And I'm like, no, I can't do. However, I can help you do. So you can call this person. Right. You can do this. We can sit down and make a plan. Because that's the only way we want to move forward and make these, incremental change. We have to, as a community, really, really come together and stop. Listen, Sean gets on my nerves probably 24/7. People tell me all the time, I can't believe Sean's still your friend. Yes, he's not going anywhere. Listen, I'm telling you today, Sean's still going to be here. He has done nothing wrong to me. So, you have to, right your wrong sometimes. So if you have a problem with somebody and you can't work with somebody, but they have the upper hand to get things done, sometimes you have to sit down and meet them at the table and see what can be done. You still may not get what you want 100%, but you can at least get that 35 to that 45% done, so you can start moving progress along here in the city of Camden. So yes, I'm letting y'all know that some people that I have not worked with in a long time, the invitation is open. So we can sit down and get things done, because it is time to really move Camden forward for all of us, and not just the waterfront. I'm so tired of seeing the waterfront look like the Oasis and Down Street, the Parkside area and the East Camden area, looking like it is just left by the wayside. So we need everybody.
So the 2 points here I want to
Yes, sir.
follow up on. The first is what you said about me, because I know you and I have been talking about this for years.
Mhm.
If I may, I'll tell it this way. One day I called you to talk to you about an education issue because you're a school board member.
Mhm.
I don't even remember specifically what the issue is, and you said, some of the same people that said stay away from Sean Brown are not calling me, giving me the suggestions that you're giving me right now. And you also give me great suggestions as well. So it's a mutual thing. But we talked about ego earlier. Another issue in the advancement of politics is what I hear from you saying is this thing of saying, well, this person made a mistake that I can barely describe a few years ago, and therefore, it reminds me of like Hillary Clinton. She lost because of she had a private server in her basement as Secretary of State. That most people even know what that even means. Could they even explain that issue to you? No, really, like come on. And then Donald Trump becomes president because she had and I heard people say this. The emails. Yeah. What the F about them? Yeah. And this happens. This has happened to me. There are people that swear up and down that I took a bribe from George Norcross. Yeah. Like, George Norcross isn't stupid enough to try to approach me with a bribe, and I'm not greedy enough to accept it. It's just something that it doesn't even make sense. But because
I hear it all the time. I mean, I hear that I was a sellout too. That's how I got on the board.
That you were a sellout.
Yeah,
no, that's just not what happened.
Yeah, it's not what happened. I mean, we really worked our behinds off, and I will let y'all know that. Look, listen, I'm still tired from that day, that election in 2019.
The level of self-righteousness that's attached to our politics is not good.
Correct. Correct.
So, all right. The other thing that you said that I wanted to dig on is what you said about the neighborhood development. Mm-hmm. So I've heard Dana Red say this. I've heard Frank Moran as mayor say this. We cannot. They say that it can't just be about waterfront development. We have to now focus on the neighborhoods. I study these things, Mr. Custis. I have a degree in public administration with a master's in community development. I think you just made the same point that I made. Where is this? Frank talks about, we have to do stuff in the neighborhoods. Where is it happening? You live in Parkside. Is it happening there from the city?
Not at all.
Because that's how it's going really more so PVCIP.
That's it.
I live in East Camden now. I don't really see it happening there. Mm-mm. Kramer Hill, maybe? North? Fairview?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Centerville. Centerville.
Oh yeah, Centerville has a big construction project going on. I mean, we have an autumn homes out there.
We are masters at building some low-income housing.
Yes.
We can build some low-income housing in Camden.
We can do that. Put them up in a couple months. That's what we can do.
Lord have mercy.
It's really time to build. But it's going to take all of us to do that.
Aaron said, progress sometimes takes a long time, but be realistic, brother. I hear you.
Absolutely.
Aaron, we're going to talk about this one day. Okay. Miss Pam says, a few resources for substance abuse.
Thank you, Miss Pam.
My father's house, Genesis, Sodat, Princeton House, and Hampton House. Thank you. And I'll make sure that gets reposted.
Now y'all see why I build with her every morning.
Oh, Pastor Khan, I did not mean to skip your question. Here we go. If 10% voted for Trump, it was probably half of them from error, and the other half didn't vote for Trump. They voted against Biden, in my opinion.
I mean, it could have been an error. Most certainly. I mean, I was out there on election day, so I most certainly saw the poll workers, especially if you had a language barrier. They were really not helpful at all. There was only, throughout this, I think we have 36 polling places. 30.
It's up 40.
40 polling places. And I think there was only like 5% Spanish people in each one of these polling places. So that was like not enough to help when someone had a problem. Right. There was a lot of first-time voters out there.
Right. Well, the people in the most of the people in the Kansas City's Democratic Party had a quarantine because somebody had COVID at an event they went to a few days before. election day. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, that's why they weren't out. That's why it was so quiet on election day, because they were like the mayor and that whole squad were quarantining.
No, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
Glad
I normally tell you this kind of stuff in private conversation, but let's just do it on the show. Want to say some other political gossip? You want to hear some other
I
gossip?
hang with them because then I had to quarantine.
That's why you don't hang with them?
That's
right. COVID?
Yeah. And much more. But COVID is keeping me safe.
All right, if you were a kingmaker, who would the next mayor of Camden be, Elton?
Oh. Look, listen.
Would it be Vic Carstarfin, Frank Moran,
no one has
Sheila Davis, Whip Wilson?
No one has contacted me yet.
Nobody's contacted you yet?
That this is their aspirations. What can I do to help in any kind of way, if possible? So I don't know. I just want it to be someone who's really wants to fight for community development in all aspects, not just in one. I mean, look, listen, Camden has to really come up. Like I said, it does not have to just be one section of Camden. I want to really see Camden rise with everybody here. And I think it can work if we just most certainly put, ego pride aside and leave this party line in alone. Like really care about the residents, really care about seeing a better day here in the city of Camden. I'm so tired of people just having a click and the click gets all of the, the perks. So if there's a grant to help, rebuild the front of your house or to fix up the front of your house or to do whatever. It's the same people doing the same work all the time or getting the same, I guess kickbacks. And that's not cool. This is a whole community of people that can utilize having that kitchen we have, having a new roof put on their house. So we have to really, start funneling out all of the help all over the place. And I think that it can happen. So whoever the next mayor is, please take the job seriously. Do not, hide in the office or hide behind a party. Let the community see you. Let us know that you're working for us. Let us know that you are a servant of the community. And I think the problem is you think that we work for you, but it doesn't work that way. You are here to work for the community. And that's what's supposed to be shown throughout everything you do. And not for any party at all. I don't care if you think you're going to lose your seats because you have done this for the community and the person told you don't do this. So what? This community building. But
you know what the election results show me, and I'm going to talk about this more on Wednesday. We can talk about it. Is that it doesn't? Nothing you just said matters.
Yeah, you're right.
You know why?
Because the people don't get out.
Because as long as a person is endorsed, and you're the exception, obviously. And I don't know if you could have won in a presidential election year because of what I'm about to say. If you're endorsed by the Kansas City Democratic Party, it's almost a guarantee to win.
Absolutely.
And in
that's why we have to change.
These people are picked because of their qualifications and their skills. They're picked because of their loyalty.
Correct.
They're picked because of an assumption of, you know what? Look how many murders we've had this year. And you still have politicians that talk about a decrease in crime since 2012, which is a miracle that our fantastic police department has done. What?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's giving a big middle finger to these young men. Because what? Because somebody might have sold drugs. It's okay that they died, and we're going to just miss their death like it never happened.
It's disrespectful on all levels.
An issue after Frank cannot put another house up ever again, and he can run for re-election and win if there's no organized opposition.
That's right. And that's why it has to be organized. It has to be strategic, and we have to really, start getting it done now.
Because what pressure? These can't. They don't get any of their money from people in Camden.
Nope.
The people that pay for the election, the people that actually work on election are often not from the city except for on election day. And again, you can see on this election day, people had a quarantine, so there was no one really managing that. Like normally you'd see Whip Wilson, Frank Moran, Curtis Jenkins, they were out. They what?
Very disrespectful. I have never seen a bunch of people so disrespectful when you ask them for help on election day. Those young people, those first-time voters, when they walked out that door and they had their head held up, it was like, no one helped me.
Right.
No one gave me something.
Well, that's more so the poll workers.
Yeah. So it's just disheartening to know. And then you go back and you question some of these people. I've been doing this for 50 years. well, apparently you've been doing it for 50 years wrong, or are not being compassionate to the work that you're doing. People really,
Would you like to share your story? Would you like to share your election day story?
No, I really don't. But I was pulled over by the cops. We got that cleared up. Everything was fine. But I was not leaving out of HB Wilson without my voice being heard and them doing the right thing for the people that come in. So yeah, Sean, we have an uphill battle, but I believe, I think President Obama's book is called The Promised Land.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll probably never see the promised land, brother, but we can most certainly work each day to increase our options of getting there.
Right.
So, I really want to dig into the book soon, because I do know that he talks about some heavy hitting stuff. And I just want to make sure that I'm on the right track too, just to keep moving Kansas City forward. I mean, I'm not giving up, y'all. Not at all. I know a lot of people have called me to ask me to run for a couple of things, but right now I am comfortable in what I'm doing. I am making headway, and I just want to make sure that I perfect a little more before I move forward. So not giving up, not giving in, just thinking my strategic plan a little longer. That's all.
So I thank you for being a guest. I thank you for showing us there's a pathway to win. I thank you for being an active school board member and working with the team, including people who you actually ran against, but you guys are still working together. I thank you for being a great cousin and uncle and mentor to the young men in your circle, whether they're in Parkside or wherever they are. All of Camden. I thank you for being a friend as well. Ms. Pam just said we appreciate you both. Thank you, Ms. Pam. Your cousin Steve asked, would you run again?
Run again for what is the question?
But answer. Would you run again for school board, and then would you run for council or mayor?
Yes, and no.
Okay. And Andre wants to know, can you get into the primary process? And meaning, can you win can an opposition candidate win a primary?
I believe so.
I think so too.
I believe so. You just have to really build. You have to get out and do the grassroots work. Look, listen. We knocked on so many doors. I really think people want to see a new day in the city of Camden. However, they're stuck in their old ways because the old way has worked for us for so long. Fresh faces is what it's about. A new day, a new dawn is here, and we just have to really get out and really take it.
The closest we saw to a primary surprise was, and it wasn't that close, but Shanika Boucher, my friend, ran for city council in the first ward.
Your friend? I don't.
Our friend. I mean,
it's all right. Shanika, he really doesn't know what's that.
Shanika ran against Vance Bowman, and Vance won. I think in the first ward, I think he won one district. He might have won two districts. I think he definitely won one district.
I think two.
But it wasn't by many votes. But he won one district. But she still won. Won and won overall. Vance wasn't a great candidate. Vance has been around for a long time, but he doesn't check all the boxes that you check as a candidate. And I'm just, obviously I'm always honest here as an urban disruptor. I think that if you had, to answer your question, Ray, I think if you have a really strong candidate with a really good reputation and with a good team and with ability to raise money, and the person that he or she is running against, endorsed by the party, is not a strong candidate, the person could win. Marilyn Torres in the third ward, not a strong candidate. I think most of the people that run, I think, are pretty strong. But when Rashawn Prelo ran for city council in East Camden, I didn't see what I saw him do was rely on a lot of young people to vote for him, and they are the most unreliable voters, unfortunately.
Yeah, we have to get them to the poll. Like we have to find a way to get them to the poll. Whether that's us walking hand in hand, getting the group together, and just saying, let's go, 100 by 100, whatever it is, that's the only way we're going to make it. So every young person that I have asked to vote, most certainly I had somebody pick them up and make sure that we were going to go vote. And then they'll come out and be like, look, I got my sticker, cuss. So, it works. It works. Sometimes you got to lead them and teach them as well.
Kenny said you're moving in the right direction.
I'm trying, and I thank you, Kenise.
It's only because of my push, Kenise. It's like I push you.
Kenise, thank you so much. You're about to become another year older next week, so we got to
Your
celebrate.
birthday's coming up.
Yeah, we have to celebrate in social distancing, so we got to find a way to make it happen.
So guys, I'm gonna end it here. I thank you so much for tuning in. Again, look out for a special episode on Wednesday. I'm not sure what time yet. Look out for a special episode on Wednesday, maybe as you are cutting the cheese, prepping the turkey, boiling the potatoes to prepare for Thursday, rolling out your crust for the pie, whatever it is that you do, buying a new TV. Tune into the Urban Disruptor. I will give a detailed analysis of the election results from 2020 to cover school board election, but also the presidential election, to see who turned out to vote, who didn't, from the information that we can gather. If you don't already, you can follow ELton Custis on social media. Where do you want people to follow you?
I'm right here on Facebook.
Okay.
ELton Custis, Blackamore.
All right, ELton Custis, Blackamore. If I said anything that inspired you or frustrated you, feel free to say it in the comments. Feel free to say it in the comments or text me. Yeah, call ELton. Yeah, a lot of people seem to be afraid to talk to me directly, and then come through you or some of my other friends, which I find interesting. But whatever, however the information gets out. Frank Moran, Mayor Moran, I beat you up a little bit, but I am still continuing to pray for your success as mayor, because your success is our success. Don't take it personal. We just need you to step it up a little bit. Well, a lot, actually, but okay. Thank you so much for everyone that is tuning in. Enjoy your Sunday. I hope this sounded great. I hope you like this different setup, and we are going to keep pushing. You have any closing thoughts?
No, thank you all for tuning in. Peace, love, and blessings, and let's keep moving Camden forward.